What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome into another episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleazebomb. Today's episode, we're going to be going over running back, stardom, sit-ems for every single matchup. Remember, guys, 4 teams are on a bye. Falcons, Packers, Bears, Steelers. Make sure they're out of your lineups. We're going to do statistical breakdowns, points per game, defense points per game. They give up rushing yards, receiving yards. They allow touchdowns. They allow everything you need with the game scripts and how I think that the game scripts are going to go with the implied point totals, and take a look at all of that as well here. This is going to be your research running back video you want to hear. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you tap that thumbs up. Helps me out a ton. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support. And if you have any questions, drop them down below. It doesn't have to pertain to this video. I try to answer every single one of them. We have the Guys FF Discord where we cover everything fantasy football from Dynasty, redraft, lineup sets, trades, trade values in Dynasty. And we also drop our pick'ems and DFS plays in there. And last week, I was absolutely on fire. Hit 7 of 8 slips last week, and I've had 5 for 5. This is not toot my own horn. 5 for 5 straight locks every single week. We are on in fuego. Let's dive in to the start sit-em running backs for every matchup here in week 5. So if you guys are new to the new to the channel, this is my running back board stardom sit-ems here. Start will be green. Flex play, I'll give you high-end, low-end flex play. Sit will obviously be red. Away team at the top versus down to the home team at the bottom here. And we're going to kick it off with Thursday night football. And my Niners coming off that bad loss, and we're just falling apart with injuries here, man. Now, this game is at a 47.5 over-under, which I think is high right now, especially for an NFC West division battle like this. And the 49ers are beat up across the board. We don't know if Jennings is going to play. We don't know if Purcell's going to play. We know Kittle's out. We know Ayuk is out. It's pretty much Christian McCaffrey. You're never sitting Christian McCaffrey in fantasy football when he's healthy, even against the number 1 run defense in the LA Rams. They only allow 10.9 points per game, 291 yards, 0 rushing TDs allowed on the year, and 46 yards through the air. CMC will probably get 46 by himself through the air. He's gotten 20 points a game. You're starting Christian McCaffrey every single time, and he may have to backpack this whole load himself because we just keep getting injury after injury after injury. Kyren Williams side, I'm tired of all the talk. Kyren Williams is the guy. You're starting Kyren Williams every single week. And the matchup is bad. The 49ers are 7th versus the running back. They allow 18.3 points per game. So that's to total running backs, not to just the one running back, because teams use split backs and 2 backs all the time, and rushing upside goes as well. But 376 yards on the ground, 2 TDs on the ground, 67 yards through the air. But when you have all the injuries the 49ers have, the Rams are at home. He sees all the red zone work. He's the absolute guy. Blake Corum does come in here, in and out there for like 30% of snaps. I'm not starting Blake Corum or Travis Hunter. Let's be serious. This is going to be a Kyren CMC game. And if the 49ers are beat up, Kyren could really, really have a smash matchup in a bad matchup versus the run. Down to London, England we go, where the Minnesota Vikings are taking on the Cleveland Browns and that nasty, nasty, nasty run D of the Cleveland Browns. And I love Jordan Mason. He's been my league winner call all year. I didn't trust Aaron Jones' health, and lo and behold, he's on IR. But Jordan Mason, man, the Cleveland Browns are only averaging 2 yards per carry. And, we don't know if it's going to be Carson Wentz or J.J. McCarthy yet, because McCarthy gave a little practice today. But the Cleveland Browns are allowing 14.6 points per game to the running back, number 2 behind the Rams, 242 yards, number 1 in the NFL rushing yards, 2 rushing TDs, and 82 yards through the air. I'm not starting a running back versus Cleveland Brown defense till someone cracks through. They have earned the right to say they are the best run D in football, and they are going to get after the Minnesota Vikings. And they stuffed the middle. They get beat on the outside. Jordan Mason's not much of an outside runner, so it's not a good matchup for Jordan Mason. I said the same thing with David Montgomery last week, and look what happened. Montgomery got absolutely hosed. Now, Cleveland Browns side, Quinshon Judkins. This guy is a full bell cow running back, dominating good defenses. Yards after contact is through the absolute roof. And we might have a quarterback change on our hands here. We might see Dylan Gabriel this week instead of Joe Flacco. There's a lot of talk about that. Maybe his rushing upside will open up a little more for Quinshon Judkins as well. They might be down Cedric Tillman. He's week to week. Isaiah Bond will step in his spot. But with the way Judkins is playing right now, it's almost matchup proof. And this guy is a bulldozer, man. He is carrying, dragging, extra yardage, bumping through 2 tackles. He looks like the best rookie running back in this class, although, Ashton Jeanty had his pop game. But that was an easy matchup. Judkins has been trucking through good defensive matchups. I'm not sitting Quinshon Judkins, period. The 1-3 Raiders are headed into the 3-1 Colts, over under 47.5. Colts are favored by 6.5, and this is going to be your Jonathan Taylor game. But I told you last week, if you had Ashton Jeanty, do not give up on him. He's going to have his breakout. He is an elite running back, and bang, he hits it hard last week. But this is going to be a tough matchup both ways. But the way these running backs are used, I'm not sitting either one of them, right? So the Colts versus the run for Jeanty, they rank 6th, giving up 18 points per game, 315 yards on the ground, which is top 5. That's very good. 2 touchdowns allowed, 90 yards to the air, and a touchdown there. Jeanty's still going to be a 10-15 touchdown upside play start for me. Jonathan Taylor, you're going to the Raiders. Max Crosby's been an absolute monster. You saw that last week. He's probably the best player in football I saw last week play. It was absolutely ridiculous. The tip catch into a pick, harassing everybody. Jonathan Taylor, they're number 5 versus the run. 296 yards. That's top 5 as well. 3 rushing TDs, 84 yards to the air. But Jonathan Taylor's usage is so crazy, guys. He's like 100% snap running back. Never comes out. This man has been a full beast. He probably would have been the first pick if we redo all the drafts this year. Can't believe I'm saying it, but as long as he's healthy, this man is an absolute freak of nature, and I'm starting both these running backs this week. All systems green game. The 1-3 Giants versus the 0-4 Saints, and I like Cam Scatterbo as a start here, and I like Alvin Kamara as a start here, and let's get into why. Not only the fact that, you have no neighbors in this game, probably lean on Scatterbo a little more, that both these teams are pretty much season over with right now, especially with the Giants schedule coming ahead, although I'm a huge Jackson Dart fan. But you got to look at these defenses, man. We'll start with Scatterbo. The Saints versus the run, they're 24th. They give up 24.2 points per game in the running back position, 388 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, 388 yards on the ground, 112 yards through the air, and 2 touchdowns. That's 5 touchdowns through 4 games. Almost Scatterbo is guaranteed for a touchdown, right? That's what you want in fantasy football. I like him for an anytime touchdown as well. On to the Saints side, Alvin Kamara. Is he going to be traded? Will they showcase him? He's still getting massive RB1 usage, although Kendre Miller vultured a touchdown last week. You get the Giants. The Giants give up 26.5 points per game, 465 yards on the ground. That's 6th worst. 5 rushing touchdowns. It's over a touchdown a game, 118 yards through the air. If this isn't the Alvin Kamara breakout week, let's get this guy traded out of New Orleans, get him to a contender, get him to where he can be fantasy relevant, because Alvin Kamara still has a lot of juice left at 30 years old, and I love both these running backs as starts this week. Another all systems green game, and I got to take the L. I was not in at all on Javonte Williams, and this guy is just showing up big time in fantasy football. It's out of this world. 80 yards and a touchdown last week versus the Green Bay Packers in a massive shootout game. He's earned the right to be a start. You're going up against the New York Jets run D, which is currently middle of the pack, ranked at 14th, giving up 20.7 points per game, 400 yards on the ground. That's 100 yards a game on the ground. Javonte Williams could be in for another big game, depending on how this game script goes if the Cowboys get ahead here, especially with the Jets just falling apart. They've also given up 66 yards through the air and a touchdown through the air, and we know Javonte has been good in the receiving back as well. He's going to be a start this week, and it pains me. Now, Breece Hall side, Braylon Allen with the knee injury. It says PCL sprain, so not season ending. Hopefully, we're looking at it right now. I haven't seen the full update, but could be 4 to 6 to 8 weeks for him. This is going to be Breece Hall's job, and maybe he's not traded now because of this injury, or maybe they still do trade him, thinking, week 4 to 5 weeks, Braylon Allen comes back. We could use Isaiah Davis. Our season's over. Let's get some draft capital. But as of now, you're going up against the Dallas Cowboys. You're starting everybody. I mean, this defense is absolutely terrible. They give up 26 points a game, ranking 26th, 339 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's a touchdown a game to the running back. And guys, 228 yards through the air to the running back position. That is absolutely bonkers. Dead last behind Baltimore Ravens are right behind them with 201. That's crazy. I mean, Breece Hall should be a smash play here. I was out on Breece all year. I'm hoping. I mean, even last night versus Miami, I had him as a smash play. And Braylon went down and he still didn't smash. So this is probably the last time I put him on a start here, because it's another good matchup if he doesn't hit it here. The 2-2 Broncos, coming off that big win versus the Bengals, are headed in to face the 4-0 Eagles that are somehow 4-0 with their offense, which blows my mind. The over-under is 43.5. And when you're looking at the Denver Broncos here, RJ Harvey gets the garbage time reception at the end of the game against the Bengals to hype the rookie hype up, but it was the J.K. Dobbins show. But you're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles run D. So, I'm looking at the Eagles' run D right now. They rank 22nd, giving up 22.8 points per game, 389 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 166 through the air as well with 2 touchdowns. Hasn't been the same Eagles defense, but I just don't know if I trust them in a game script where the Eagles could be more ahead here. So I'm going to put RJ Harvey and Dobbins both as flex plays. I'd put Dobbins as a higher end flex play, Harvey as a lower end flex play. And when it comes to Saquon Barkley, man, are we getting nervous here? I'm still starting this guy, right? He's could get a touchdown any single game. Has not been the Saquon Barkley that we thought we were going to see, but he hasn't been hurt. It's not like the curses have hit. Their offense has just been terrible, but they win games. It's freaking bonkers. Like, if you look at their stats, yardage per game, it's like Jalen Hurts has won 3 games with under 150 yards passing. And Saquon Barkley hasn't broke out. How are they winning games, right? Like, I know they got the blocked field goal last week as well. Denver Broncos defense is top 10 versus the run, number 10, giving up 18.9 points per game, 369 on the ground, 1 touchdown, 169 through the air, and a touchdown there as well. Now, do we think the over-under is going to hit in this game at 43.5? Do we think it's going to be a grunge game? I think it's going to be a really, really ugly defensive grunge game here. I'm still starting Saquon, and if you want to throw Harvey or Dobbins in as a flex play, I'm okay with it. I'd rather throw Dobbins in over Harvey because it's still his job. Another ugly, all systems green 1-3 battle. The Miami Dolphins are headed into the Carolina Panthers to take on Dave Canales and Chuba Hubbard and Bryce Young, and who knows if he's going to keep his job here. Now, Devon Achane, my God, is his value going to skyrocket with the Tyreek Hill news? My guy's always a top 5 back. Everyone tries to argue. All he does is produce. Almost put up 100 yards on the ground with 99 last week. Touchdown. Didn't have his normal through the air game, but they didn't have to. They were in control of the game. So it was a different game script for them. You got to see him pound the run. That's what you like to see with Achane because everyone thinks he's too small and he can't do it and blah, blah, blah. He just produces every single year. It's ridiculous. Now, Ollie Gordon. I have him in yellow. This is a deep, low-end flex play, but I like an anytime touchdown for Ollie Gordon in this game. So if you have buys, you're in a deep competitive league or anything like that, I'm okay with the Ollie Gordon dart throw play. Say you have like DeAndre Swift, Romo Dunze, Matthew Golden, a bunch of people on the buy, right? He's an all right flex play for me with high touchdown upside because you're going against the Carolina Panthers run D. This is one of the worst run Ds in football, but the point statistics from the Falcons game really shoots them up because it was really bad. So they give up 22.5, ranking 21st, 440 yards on the ground. That's bottom 5 worst. 3 touchdowns on the ground, 121 yards through the air. Now, when you're looking at that, you're like, how are the Panthers, how do I explain it? Like, they didn't do anything in their defense to help them. So I'm starting every running back versus them. Obviously, Achane is going to eat, and I do think the Dolphins get this win here for some reason, and they go 2-3. But Ollie Gordon, I do like for an anytime touchdown in this game. Now, Chuba Hubbard side, the matchup is gold. I mean, you saw last night on Monday Night Football what the Jets' game plan was going to be till Braylon Allen fumbled at the 1-yard line, right? Great play by, I think it was Jones or Minka Fitzpatrick recovered it. He was going to cross the goal line, and then they tapped the ball out right at the 1. That saved the game script, literally, for the Dolphins. Their run D is terrible. 24.8 points, ranking 26, 440 yards on the ground, 212 through the air. That's 640 freaking total yards through 4 games to the running back position. Do the math. That's like 130 points or 130 yards a game all around per running back. Chuba Hubbard is going to be an absolute start in this game, and he's going to absolutely feast on the Miami terrible run D. Another 1-3 battle, and it's crazy to say that the Baltimore Ravens are part of the 1-3 battle. But if you guys didn't listen to last week in my waiver wire video, this is why you subscribe. I said pick up Woody Marks. I said he's taking the job from Nick Chubb. Joe Mixon update. We don't think he's going to be back all year according to the updates. You saw the coach talk about it. He said as if he comes back at all. So doesn't look like Mixon's even making it back. You want the young 24-year-old rookie at USC over a 29-year-old battered knee Nick Chubb. That's easy information to figure out. It literally, for me, I feel like it is. That's why you tap that like and subscribe so you stay ahead. Now, the Baltimore Ravens run D, guys, is the worst in the NFL. They rank 32nd, 4.4 points per game, 464 yards, second worst, 5 rushing TDs allowed. That's over a rushing TD a game, 201 yards through the air, and 2 passing touchdowns allowed. Woody Marks just scored through the air and on the ground last week versus Tennessee in a shutout game. You know he's the pass-catching back. This defense has given up 700 yards in 4 games. That's like 175 yards a game. Like, Jesus, this is going to be a smash Woody Marks game here. And why? You might also have, you don't might, Cooper Rush will be the starting quarterback. Lamar Jackson looks like 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring. That is going to make them lean on Henry more. Henry's going to be a start, even though the panic is kind of on with Derrick Henry. I'm not worried about King Henry, but they're not going to have their same sustained drives. Other teams are going to get more opportunities, opening up more for Woody Marks. I still, even though, you go up against the Houston Texans defense, I'm still going to say start Derrick Henry. I'm not going to say sit him, right? So Houston ranks 13 versus the running back in a 20.3, 345 on the ground, 4 touchdowns, a touchdown a game. Henry could easily fall in the end zone, 89 yards through the air. So it just depends on how Cooper rushes with this offense, and we'll talk about the wide receivers in my next video. But I'm starting Henry, and I'm smashing Woody Marks in this game. 0-4 Tennessee Titans are headed into the 2-2 Arizona Cardinals. And Tony Pollard, to me, the time is up. 4 games, he got massive number 1 NFL usage. Tyjae Spears is practicing this week, most likely going to be lifted off IR. Now, if Tyjae Spears is not, and it's Tony Pollard again, I will put him out there as a flex play. So note that going into this little section right here we're going to have with this game. So when you're looking at the Arizona Cardinals run D, and the Arizona Cardinals offense has been stagnant. They found a little, Marvin Harrison life down the stretch last week. And it's still ugly, though. But the Arizona Cardinals, they give up 24.4 points per game to the running back. That's great. I just don't know how the split is going to look. Tony Pollard has kind of not looked like the old Tony Pollard. So I think the new juice of Tyjae Spears coming in could be a split back work where they both could maybe be low-end flex plays, but I'm not trusting it in their first week back. But they've given up 319 on the ground, 2 touchdowns, 186 through the air, and two receiving touchdowns through the air. That's where Tyjae Spears thrives. That's when he was the darling of fantasy football down the stretch last year. So again, these are tempered expectations, planning on Tyjae being back. And this Titans offense, man, it looks freaking terrible. Cardinals defense hasn't been great, but still, when you're going up against this offense, I can't start either one of them just looking at how it's gone. On to the Arizona Cardinals side. You're going up against the Tennessee Titans. This is a great matchup for Trey Benson here. The Tennessee Titans ranked 29th versus the running back, giving up 29.5 points per game. But why do they give up so many points per game? Because their goddamn offense can't move the ball. Their defense is out there so long, they just get gashed. So, the matchup looks great, but it's really not that good of a matchup. I'd say they're more like a top 20 run D, not bottom, by the 30s, but that's where they're at right now. They've given up 470 yards on the ground. That's bottom 5, 6 rushing touchdowns. 6. That's dead last in the NFL. Trey Benson has a great chance to score in this game. 119 through the air and 1 touchdown. That's 7 touchdowns in total to the running back through 4 games. That is a massive number. This is a big week for Trey Benson here. And again, Tony Pollard and Spears, I'm just waiting to see how it plays out, but this offense has been terrible. Here we go. The panic is on. The 3-1 battle between the Seattle Seahawks that are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. Now, remember, guys, you got to pay attention to the injuries here. We don't know about Bucky Irving, but anytime Bucky Irving is out there, I'm always starting Bucky Irving. Let's be honest. So if Bucky is not out there and you get Rachaad White off the waiver wire, or you had him handcuffed with Bucky, which is something I always love to do, is handcuff my running backs, you're going to be going up against the Seattle Seahawks run D, which does rank 20th. They do give up 22.5 points per game, 284 on the ground. No rushing touchdowns allowed. They have a very good defense, but they get gashed guys through the air. 266 yards through the air. That's dead last. I read it wrong. I said the Ravens were last. That's dead last. So also a touchdown. Bucky thrives through the air. Rachaad White thrives through the air. So if Bucky is out, Rachaad White's going to become a high-end flex play for me and a Baker Mayfield-led offense that loves to target the running back as well. And obviously Seattle just plummets yards in the receiving game to the running back. So either one of these guys' situation, like Bucky's an instant start if he plays, and Rachaad White becomes a high-end flex play for me. On to the Seattle Seahawks. We talked about it last week on the show on Thursday. Everyone was trying to get after me. Kenneth Walker, this is going to be a timeshare all year long. Charbonnet is going to be the goal line back. You saw him almost have 2 touchdowns. He had another touchdown called back. Kenneth Walker is their outside playmaker that is a speed demon. I mean, this guy in open space is one of my favorite to watch, but they also know that he has an injury history that is massive. He's never played an entire season healthy in his NFL career. He is playing 40 to 35% snaps. That's what's going to keep him healthy for the year. The coaches know this. They're using Charbonnet to pound it out. Dude, Charbonnet was coming off injury and saw a lot of work. So when it comes to these guys, you're in a very bad matchup versus Tampa Bay this week. They are very, very good versus the run. They rank 15th, giving up 20 points per game, but it still is their strength. And don't look at the numbers and think, oh man, they've only given up 216 yards, guys. That's number 1 in the NFL on the ground. Wait, let me make sure that. Yeah, Cleveland Brown, 242. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 216 on the run. That's very, very good. But where did they get gashed? Through the air, 245 and a touchdown. So Kenneth Walker could have a big receiving day here, but I do not like the run game through the middle. So Charbonnet has the touchdown upside in the red zone. Both these running backs, mid-tier flex plays for me, at best. And it's a tough matchup, man. Oh, my Lanta. The 3-1 Lions are headed into the 2-2 Bengals that are falling apart. The wheels are coming off with Jake Browning at quarterback, and the matchup doesn't get any prettier than this. And I had David Montgomery on a sit last week versus the number 1 run D. Now you're going to start David Montgomery versus the 31st ranked run D. The Cincinnati Bengals give up 31 points per game. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are going to go absolutely freaking nuclear this week. They've given up 494 yards on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns, 186 through the air, and 3 touchdowns through the air. That's 6 touchdowns to the running back through 4 games. I like both them to score in this game. I like both them to have monster games here. Lions offense is heating up. Bengals are falling apart. You're absolutely starting both these guys. Now, Chase Brown. I mean, talk about just falling apart. And the worst part is the Lions just lost both their starting corners, right? So that's really not going to help Chase Brown. Maybe it does in the receiving game, getting tackled out wide on like a screen or something like that. But the Lions' run D's been immaculate. They're number 8 versus the run, giving up 18.7 points per game, 291. They have given up 4 touchdowns. That's a touchdown a game, 109 yards through the air, and no touchdowns through the air. But when you have no offensive line, Jake Browning at quarterback, who people try to tell me Jake Browning he knows the system, he's gonna do it. No, it's time to pick up the phone. It's time to call Jameis. Time to call Russ. Time to figure it out. Call Kirko. Get it going here. The Bengals offense is going to be absolutely terrible until something has changed at the QB position, or until they finally realize that they got to stop paying their superstars and start with the offensive line that protects those superstars. The 2-2 Commanders are headed in to the 3-1 Chargers, coming off that loss to Jackson Dart, the over-under 47.5. And I could put Chris Rodriguez up there. I could put Jeremy McNichols up there. That's not the running back we want to see, not the running back you're going to start unless you're in like a 32-man or 18-man deep league. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, his yards per carry is bonkers. He needs to see more work, but this is not going to be the matchup for Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt to do that. You're going up against the Chargers run D, ranks 4th versus the running back, giving up 14.8, 274 yards, 1 touchdown, tied for second there, 71 yards through the air, and no touchdowns through the air. Now, you just saw Cam Scatterable also get 5 of 6 goal line carries inside the 3 versus the Charger run D without Khalil Mack and get stuffed every single time. This defense is for real. I am not starting Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt versus the Charger defense. Now, Omarion Hampton. Oh, my. I had this guy as a league winner down the stretch. I did not have him as a league winner this early, but the Najee Harris injury has opened the door. And goddamn, Omarion Hampton has slammed it shut. He looks so good on the ground, through the air, breaking tackles, carrying 5 defenders last week. It was awesome to see. And the Giants' run D is a good front 7, man. He looked absolutely electric. You're seeing his pass catching ability kick in as well, which he just looks all around amazing. And you're getting the Washington Commanders defense. They rank 12th versus the running back at 19.6, 324 yards on the ground, 3 TDs, and 160 through the air. That's 500 yards total through 4 weeks. So you're averaging about 125 per game. I love Omarion Hampton. I'm probably going to be starting him regardless of the matchup with how good he's looked for the rest of the season. The game you're going to be glued to, the New England Patriots 2-2. Drake May headed into the 4-0 Buffalo Bills. 49.5 over under. They're giving the Bills a 7.5 spread on this. I don't know if I like that, but let's break this game down here. So Ramondre Stevenson fumbles the ball twice. Antonio Gibson fumbles. Drake May fumbles, and yet they still lose the game to the Steelers and give the starting job back to Ramondre Stevenson with 9 carries to Travion 7. I don't understand it. Make it make sense. But Travion Henderson finally found the end zone last week. That's a good plus sign. You're going up against the Buffalo Bills here, though. Buffalo Bills run D right now, currently on the season, they are ranking in, and their game scripts, you got to remember this as well. Their game scripts, they've just been crushing people. So their defense probably gets gashed a little more for garbage time points, right? But the Saints game was close last week. It's kind of interesting there. But they rank 18th, getting up 21.9 points, 435 on the ground, so 100 plus on the ground a game. You saw Breece Hall crush them in week 1. 4 touchdowns, a touchdown a game, 62 yards through the air. That's where they thrive. They allow about 16.3 yards through the air a game to the running back. That is Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson's strength kind of through the air. Not that I'm going to put them both as flex plays. I wish they just give this job to Himderson, but it's just still a timeshare, so it's still going to be low-end flex plays for me if you need in a matchup that could get ugly versus the Bills. James Cook, baby. How many times I got to say this? This is your running back one for the rest of the season. I don't care about big names. I don't care about the superstar names that other people will rank out for you. Research and knowledge is power. James Cook has the number one easiest schedule. They are favored in every single game. His workload has gone up. He is going to dominate fantasy football from here on out, and the only way he is not RB1, in my opinion, is if an injury happens. That is how good this man looks. You get the New England Patriots run D. They rank 16th, giving up 21.1, 261 yards on the ground, 174 through the air, 2 touchdowns through the ground, and 1 touchdown through the air. Don't care. Doesn't matter. Starting James Cook versus every single defense there is. Starting James Cook in every single matchup. Never taking him out of my starting lineup. Lock it in, set it, start him for the rest of the year. That's your RB1 on the season. I don't know what to do here, man. The Monday Night Football matchup, the Chiefs 2-2 coming off the big win versus the Ravens, are not headed in to face the Bills. They are headed in to face the Jaguars. Wrong thing there from me. So over under is 46.5. KC favored by 3.5 on the road in Duval. Now, Pacheco gets the catch out wide and scores. And people that started him or had him on their bench are going to look at that box score and think it looks good and that he's going to be a start this week. The matchup versus Jacksonville is great. He's actually losing touches more and more and more as we've gone through here. So, and they just updated today that Brashard Smith's going to be more involved. So, yeah, the matchup, versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, you got to like it. They're still almost top 10. They rank 11th versus the running back at 19 points a game, 255, 0 rushing touchdown allowed, tied for number one there, 189 through the air and 2 receptions. That's where the Jaguars defense gets gashed. I know that Pacheco got the receiving touchdown last week, but that's never his forte. That's more of a Brashard Smith type thing. Maybe that's why they're updating that Brashard Smith is going to be more involved because the Jaguars passing defense versus the running back is where they struggle. So Pacheco, flex play, touchdown upside is there. It's still hard to trust. I don't trust 1 week. I'm not one of those guys that has 1 week pop, and then I'm going to start him every single week because he popped. That's a fantasy mistake that people make. And speaking of pop weeks and then starting him, this is your example right here. Travis Etienne has been killing it, and I am not starting Travis Etienne on Monday Night Football versus the Kansas City Chiefs run D. I am just not. When you look at it on paper, they rank 23rd, giving up 24.1. All of that makes sense, but you got to realize their team has been banged up with injuries the whole way. The offense hasn't been able to do shit, and now they got Xavier Worthy back, and you saw how the Baltimore Ravens looked against them. They've also given up 149 yards to the air and a touchdown. But the Kansas City Chiefs is legit a top 5 run D normally, guys. This is what they do. This is what they stop. Spagnuolo is very good at this. ETN, I do not like this week at all, and I know that he's had 2 big weeks, so it's hard to sit him. This is just how it's going to go. I'm telling you right now. And by Shell Tootin, guys, I tried to tell you last week. What the hell were we talking about? A guy getting 17% snaps and 15% snaps that scored a touchdown back-to-back weeks is not viable volume. That's like rookie 101 mistakes. That's exactly why Tootin is not going to be starting anytime soon for me, because opportunity comes from volume. Volume leads to points. Volume is king. Tootin does not have volume. So no on either of the Jags running backs this week. Boom. Thanks for rocking with me today. That is the end of the episode. That is my running back start sit-em for every single matchup, guys. Remember, 4 teams on a bye. Get them out of your lineups. If you want to check my QB video that is out, I'm going to try to get my wide receiver and tight end videos to you out tonight, hopefully. And then tomorrow we'll dive into the rankings and then sleepers and start-em, sit-ems, and all the shows will start. I can't wait. I'm back this weekend. No more Vegas. Let's dial in. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't, tap that like and subscribe on the way up. Make sure you do. Helps your boy out a ton. If you haven't checked out the guys FS, it will be pinned in the comments and description of the video. And as always, guys, sign up on drafters.com using promo code SLEAZE. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening. Sleaze Bomb out.